You know, we have had several stories in the past year about adults assaulting children. Many of them start off with something that's called grooming.
That's when an adult gains a child's trust. And to talk about it, how to tell if your child is in danger, we have Colleen Brazil with Project Harmony. Thanks for being here, Colleen.
Yes, thank you.
First, let's talk about the manipulation of a child. What does that look like? How does it happen?
So it can take different ways that the perpetrator may do that, but it really is a gradual process where the perpetrator is, first of all, selecting the victim, then doing things to gain that child's trust and cooperation. So it can look like spending extra time with them, volunteering to help them, buying things for them, but it is a gradual process to gain the child's trust.
And how can parents talk to their child about this?
So I think what we want to encourage parents to do is to really let the child lead the conversation. So what is the child hearing about? How is the child feeling about things? We don't want parents to do a lot of asking of questions, but really letting the child lead. We also know that this process can be very difficult for parents and very emotional. So we want them to really make sure that they have their own emotions in check. So how are they feeling about things, so that they're able to be in a place to really listen to their child.
And you want to trust the child too, but also you want to protect the child. How do you do that?
Well, I think there's 5 steps that we think about when we think about protecting children. First, understand the facts. What we know is that 1 out of 10 children are sexually abused by the time they reach 18. We want to minimize opportunities. So we also know that 80% of sexual abuse cases happen when a child feels isolated or is left in a one-on-one type of situation. So as caregivers, we really want to minimize those opportunities that someone may have to abuse their child. We want to really listen to their child. We want them to have conversations about body safety and about boundaries with them. We want them to recognize the signs. So looking for changes in their child's behavior. Are they responding differently than they have in the past? Is the child showing less interest in things that they used to be interested in? And then again, just reacting responsibly. So when the caregiver is talking with their child, making sure that they have their own emotions in check. And so really seeking professional help, asking for questions when a caregiver is concerned.
Sure, just being present in their lives and watching over them. All right. Colleen Brazil with Project Harmony, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.